The Advocate. Welcome. Today we examine Section 1, Subsection 2A. The board expects you to identify fundamental governance concepts and explain the relationship of the state to government. Shall we begin? To understand how a nation functions, we have to define the specific concepts that allow a government to exist and exercise control. Exam writers often rely on the fact that students treat similar terms as interchangeable. Many people think power and authority are the same. They are not. In the syllabus, these are distinct building blocks. To distinguish them, look at the source of each. Power is raw physical strength, the capacity to make someone obey. It forces compliance through sheer weight of resource or threat. A thief with a gun has power, making you follow instructions through threat of violence, but he lacks legal standing. Authority is different. This is when the Constitution grants an individual the specific right to demand obedience. A judge with a gavel possesses authority granted by the state. Without using physical force, they have the recognized right to issue a binding sentence. These definitions are tested directly. Examiners look for students who can distinguish between the capacity to act and the right to act. Because these terms overlap in casual conversation, this overlap becomes a frequent source of error when students face highly specific multiple-choice options. Once we understand the tools of command, we have to look at the structures where they operate, the state versus the government. The state is a permanent political entity. It is defined by its territory, its distinct population, and its absolute sovereignty. Looking at this map, we see the rigid boundaries of the Nigerian state. These borders remain constant, regardless of who is currently in office. The government, by contrast, is the temporary machinery or agency. It is the group of people tasked with running the affairs of the state. This specific regime is an example of that machinery in action. They exercise the powers of the state, but their tenure is finite. This is a critical distinction in the syllabus. Different governments, whether civilian or military, come and go, while the sovereignty of the state remains. In short, the government is the temporary driver of the permanent vehicle that is the state. Think of the government like the captain of a ship. If this still feels difficult, do not worry. Finish this video, then use our interactive audio to talk with me one-on-one. We use this vessel to map out these concepts. Authority is the captain's legal right to stand at the wheel and steer. Power is the engine's mechanical capacity to turn the propeller and push the vessel. This metaphor reflects the practical reality of how laws are developed and enforced within Nigeria. Transitioning to Abuja, we can see how this theory applies to actual urban governance. We can visualize this through what I call the Abuja blueprint, a four-step process of governance. Step 1 is influence. This occurs when citizens and interest groups suggest a new rule or direction for the state. While citizens can persuade or guide the minds of their leaders, they lack the legal right to write the laws or the physical force to compel their creation. To move beyond suggestion, we must reach Step 2, authority. Within the green dome of the National Assembly, constitutional authority is exercised. The Constitution grants the representatives inside this building the specific right to write and pass the rules that govern the state. But Step 3 is power. A rule written in a book is ineffective without the actual capacity to enforce it. On our blueprint, we see power concentrated at the nodes of enforcement, like police headquarters. The police possess the physical capacity, the power, to arrest those who break the new rule. However, a state that relies solely on authority and power is fragile. Stability requires one final concept. Step 4 is legitimacy. This is when the citizens obey the rules willingly, believing the system is just. Legitimacy is a psychological mechanism. It occurs when the people accept that the lawmakers and the enforcement officers are acting lawfully. This moment of consensus reflects accepted governance. The state functions smoothly because the people acknowledge its right to rule. Without legitimacy, a state faces constant civil unrest. Power and authority alone cannot maintain order indefinitely. Authority provides the right to act, and power provides the means, but both rely on legitimacy to function without descending into tyranny. Returning to our judicial chamber, we can use these models to analyze how these concepts appear in actual exam questions. Justice, I am looking at a past question. It asks,
Power is understood to mean the
Option A says right to compel obedience. Option B says capacity to compel obedience. These options look identical, but option A's right to compel defines authority, making it incorrect. Option B's capacity to compel defines power, making it correct. Mastering these subtle distinctions allows a candidate to navigate the specific wording used by examiners. Precision in decoding vocabulary is essential for high scores in the government exam. The state is the permanent structure. The government is its temporary agency. Power is the capacity to force. Authority is the legal right. Splendid work, the advocate. You are becoming a fine scholar. Now, test these definitions for yourself in the quiz section.